ladies, welcome back to my channel. So as you can tell by the caption of the video, today we are going to be doing a fill-in. So um, before we hop into the tutorial, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and yeah, leave a comment for me. So anyways, as you can tell, these nails are pretty grown out and they are super blingy and super red. This was actually a Valentine's Day set, and this client lives pretty far away, so she actually drives y'all like almost 2 hours every appointment to come and see me. So she comes about every 3 to 4 weeks. So yeah, it's a little longer than what I would like, but when you have a really bomb nail tech, your nails hold up well and they are able to last that long. So yeah, period. Anyways, as you can see, she had a lot of bling, a lot of bling. So I'm just going to start by pushing back the cuticles, which you guys seen a little bit earlier. And now I'm just using my nipper to pop off as many stones as I can. Um, I do recommend holding a portion of the nail down while doing this, only because sometimes the stones can be on pretty good depending on what glue you use. And so when you are going to pop that off, sometimes it can kind of tug on the nail, which is pretty painful. So yeah, like I said, just take off what you can, and then I am going in with my very coarse drill bit, and I'm just taking off all of that leftover spots, glue, residue, whatever you want to call it. Um, and also the polish. And another thing, if you guys feel like you're having trouble getting certain stones off, as you can see, I still have a few, and I just take that same drill bit and I kind of run it around it, run it over top, just kind of play with them a little bit, and it does loosen them up a lot, which makes them eventually either pop off or makes it to where you can go back in with those nippers and pop them off. The only thing I do want you ladies to remember is that you cannot leave the drill bit in one spot for too long, especially not on the nail, but definitely not on the charms either, just because it does cause the charms to heat up way quicker than it would be, when you're just using it normally over the polish. So just keep that in mind, because it'll get super hot and it will burn for a few seconds. So you definitely want to avoid that. But as you can see, I am making sure to go around the cuticles as well as the sidewalls of the nails, getting all of that polish off. You don't want to leave anything left over, possibly transferring over to the next set. And another thing, as you can see, both of her pointers, she wanted to just go ahead and replace because she had hit that big heart gem a few times, at work. And she said it was really causing her pointer fingers some pain from when she had hit that gem. It had pulled on the nails a little bit and caused them to bruise just a little. So we just went ahead and took them off and just placed some new nails on there just to kind of relieve some of that tension. And yeah, so I'm just still playing around with these freaking gems, you guys. It was kind of hard to get them off. As you can see, I ended up not even recording the rest of it, but just play around with them, be a little bit patient, and they will come off. So now I'm going around the cuticles with my cuticle drill bit, aka, if y'all come and watch my videos a lot, I love to call this my cone drill bit because it is shaped like a cone. Literally, it's my favorite. It gets under, the entire cuticle. It gets all of the nitty gritty out, exposes the entire nail, exposes all of that new growth, and gets us ready for a good prep and application. This is really important. Like I said, it gets all of the excess, everything. I just call it the nitty gritty because that when you go and you file it, it's literally the nitty gritty. And like I said, it exposes the entire nail, as does using this sanding band. I go in after this, and this is super important also because not only does it expose the nail and give us a entire new base to work with, but it eliminates the natural oils on the nail. And this is really important because this is what helps prevent lifting. When you have natural oils on your nails and you go to apply that acrylic, it will cause lifting, only because there is kind of like it makes it hard for the acrylic to adhere, I guess I should say. I don't want to get too termy in case, you're new here or you don't know much about nails and you're still kind of learning. So I'm kind of, trying to make it as basic and straightforward as possible. But basically, when you are applying acrylic, you want to make sure that you have a completely, dry base, no oils. And we will get to that step again in just a little bit. Something that you also want to do with that, but just for now, that is the main purpose of the sanding band, is to get rid of all the natural oils. So now I'm going in with an 80 grit file, and as you can see, I'm just cleaning up the shape, going on the sides of the nails at a 90-degree angle, and then of course filing the free edge straight up and down at a 90-degree angle. As you can see, I am holding on to my client's nail while doing this as well. As I mentioned earlier, it's really easy for the pressure and everything to cause like tugging on the nail, which can be very, sorry, I got a whole bunch of blabber today. It can be very uncomfortable. So it helps a lot to avoid tension and bruising and everything, pulling, tugging, all of that stuff. It helps keep it in place and makes it more comfortable when you hold on to the nail when filing. So definitely remember that. And of course, I always tell you to pull back your client's skin, because when using a file, especially one this sharp, it will cut them, and that's very uncomfortable. So and I did kind of shorten them a little bit. She can't have them extremely long because of the job she has. So we did have to cut them down a little, well, file them down. Normally I would use my nail clipper to cut them, but in this instance, this was a brand new file, so it got, a lot of the nail filed down pretty easily. So I went ahead and applied the new nail tip as well as cut it, and I am going over that with a sanding band. Now in this case, not only am I getting rid of the natural oils, but I'm blending the nail tip as well as the entire nail. And that is very important because it helps prevent lifting and helps the acrylic adhere. So back to that lifting stuff that we were talking about. This is another very important step, on top of using the sanding band. The first thing I used was Mia Secret primer. Oh, I'm sorry, Mia Secret dehydrator. And that just is, one extra, I guess, foolproof of making sure that the nails are dehydrated and free of natural oils. And then the second thing I used was Young Nails Protein Bond, and this is, or primer. This, helps with the acrylic adhering and helping everything stay put, stay where it needs to be. This is really, really important. 9 times out of 10, if you do not use those on your sets, at least from experience, you will have lifting and you will not have as high as a retention rate, aka nails lasting as long as you would like or as long as they should. So definitely keep that in mind. You can find both of those on Amazon for a pretty good price. And so now I'm just going in and I'm filling in those nails with acrylic. The acrylic I'm using is Young Nails Cover Rosebud, I believe. And so as you can see, I'm just starting with a little bead. Normally you only need about one bead. Sometimes I use two if I feel like I need to, build up the apex a little bit more. Or in this case, since this finger and the ring finger, I did a lot of filing with getting those jewels and all that residue off, I did kind of take it down more than what I would like. So I kind of want to build it back up to more than what it was. And so a big tip when doing a fill-in, it's pretty easy. It's just like doing a full set. The only difference is, of course, you're only working with, acrylic near the cuticle area. So although it can be way quicker and way easier, it is a little bit more tricky and, tedious, because when placing the bead, you have to be very careful that you do not place it on the cuticle, nor, on the skin, of course. So when you place it, you want to place it just below the cuticle. And that is because if you place it too close to the cuticle or on the cuticle, the acrylic will flood and it will get on the skin, which will definitely cause lifting for sure. On top of it being uncomfortable and very not hard to fix, because, while it's still wet, you can kind of manipulate it. But overall, you just want to really try to avoid that. Of course, if you do get some acrylic on the skin or on the cuticle, it is okay. You just want to make sure that you take your brush while it is still wet and just simply wipe around the cuticle area and clean the skin. I do this every single set, every single nail. You will literally never, ever, ever, ever see me not do this. And it's because no matter how well I place the bead or how smooth the application went, whatever, XYZ, you just never know. It's better to be safe than sorry. And it just helps me clean everything up regardless. Even if I don't have any acrylic on the skin, wiping around that area will still help everything on the actual nail stay nice and, flush, nice and clean. So it's better to work smarter, not harder. So staying clean throughout your entire set will cut down so much time out of a set. Not that being fast is really like a main priority, but it doesn't hurt to, try to find ways to move a little bit quicker, only because the quicker you move, the more clients you can take. So definitely keep that in mind. And so now I am just going in and reapplying acrylic to this new nail. And this step is really simple as well. So typically I do a 3 bead, maybe 4 bead method on new nails. I start with my first bead at where the nail tip and the natural nail meet, if not a little bit before, and I just lightly feather and pat it down. You don't want to apply too much pressure because it will cause you to wipe off most of your acrylic. So you just want to lightly feather it down. One tip that I have is if you feel like the acrylic is a little bit too runny, maybe try like waving it just a little bit. And also when you're placing the bead, just hold it in place for just a second just to allow it to settle, and then feather it down, and that normally helps a lot. So as you can see, I already have 2 beads here, and it already has such a nice apex and foundation. Of course, I still have to place a 3rd bead near the cuticle. Again, not to go too in detail, but just remember all of the details that I said about the cuticle bead. And another thing to remember when placing that is that as you feather it down, it does move up slightly. So that's another thing to think about. So now I am just feathering it down and making sure that I continue to wipe the sides of the nail as well as the free edge around the cuticle area, wiping the skin off, just keeping everything nice, neat, and clean. Because like I told you guys, the cleaner you work, the easier the set will be, the quicker the set will be, the less work that you have to do overall. So another thing that I want to mention when doing acrylic for a new nail, the main focus is the apex. A lot of people think that just because you have a lot of acrylic on the entire nail that means it's good to go and it won't break, but that is not always true. The heart of the nail is the apex, which is where the natural nail and the nail tip meet, or aka where you place the nail tip when you're gluing it on. That's the most important part of the nail, because 9 times out of 10, if the nail is going to break, that is where it's going to be. I kind of go deeper into this in a lot of my full acrylic tutorial videos, but for now, the quickest, most efficient way I can explain it is that the apex is, the root, or I guess the seed of the nail, and then the rest of the nail is like the growth of a flower. So when you're planting the seed, that is, if you don't take care of that one spot, nothing else is going to come from it. That's how I kind of like to think of it. So just keep that in mind. And even though I only use 3 beads, definitely feel free to add more. I always like to say start with less because it's easier to add than it is to take away. So just keep that in mind. And so I am done with the fill and the repair. So now I'm just going in and cleaning up the shape. As you can see, I'm just briefly filing the sides, making sure to pull back the skin, filing that free edge at a 90-degree angle again. There's not really much to do here because we didn't do anything really with this part of the nail. I just like to go ahead and clean it up again and just, go through one last time. It takes maybe a minute for each hand, so it's like, why not? Might as well just, get it a little bit crispier one last time. And of course, this is the new nail, so I am having to file it just a tad bit more, but not too much. And as you can see, I'm also making sure to get underneath the sides of the nails. That's really important because when applying the acrylic as well as filing it, you can sometimes get some stuff that gets underneath of there, and it is very important to make sure that the undersides of the nail are nice and flat. Even though you would think that it's not important, it does take away a lot from the sets. So you just want to make sure that you are keeping that in mind. And then now I'm going over the nails with my coarse drill bit again. Actually, no, I'm sorry. This one is my fine drill bit. because the goal here isn't to take anything off. It's really just to smooth everything out and give it a nice, foundation. So I'm starting around the cuticle area, and that is sealing the cuticle. That's really important because it'll help prevent lifting. You do want to make sure that you're being super careful because all of my drill bits, as I'm sure yours are, especially if you use ceramic ones, are pretty sharp. So you just want to start by going around the cuticles and then make sure that you are also going over the entire nail, just smoothing it out, making sure that there aren't any lumps or bumps. This is super important also because once you start doing your designs, polish, whatever, you're definitely going to see any imperfections. So you just want to make sure that everything is nice and smooth, and you don't want to apply too much pressure because, like I said in the beginning of the video, leaving the drill, moving too fast or in one spot or applying too much pressure will cause some friction, which will then turn the nail hot, and it does hurt pretty bad. So you just want to make sure that you're being aware of that, constantly keeping the drill moving, keeping it at a nice speed. Yeah. So now we are going in and buffing the nails. This is one of the easiest steps. I actually get these buffers from Amazon. I get like a really large pack for a super good price, so check those out. And yeah, you just want to go over the entire nail. This helps smooth the nail out and get rid of anything that the drill bit scratches, anything that could have been left over from that. So I don't film it, but then I have my client go and wash their hands after I apply cuticle oil to their cuticle area and also underneath of their finger, kind of like where the natural nail is. And I just do that because I've come to find out that a lot of times, things get trapped underneath of there, especially dust, acrylic, things from filing, a whole bunch of things. So applying the cuticle oil underneath of there really helps, loosen that and get it off when she goes to wash. So for this set, we are doing kind of like a two-tone airbrush type of thing. And so we are going to be starting by applying 2 coats of this purple color. I forget the name, but it's by D&D. You might be able to see it on the brush or like the handle of the brush, but if not and you want to know what the color is, just comment down below and I will let you guys know. But this is a really nice color. I love D&D. I recommend it for all polishes. I just rarely have ever had an issue with them, so definitely recommend it. I buy mine off Amazon. And another thing, a tip with applying the polish, as you can see, I'm using a cleanup brush to just wipe around the edges when needed. It makes it much more precise when cleaning the nails off, and helps you not take away so much polish. And also I'm wiping the sides of the nails, making sure to keep that nice shape. Sometimes when using gel, since it's so thick, it can sometimes run over, so that helps with that. And then as you can see, when applying it, I'm kind of taking it up close to the cuticle and then just pressing it flat to kind of let it spread, and then I just flow from side to side and brush it down, which gives me a nice clean look. So this definitely can take some practice though, so I do recommend, just trying it out on nails. I know that it seems like it would be pretty easy, but believe it or not, applying polish can sometimes be pretty tricky. It seems like it's so easy, but it can, like I said, it can be a little hard sometimes. So now I'm just going back in with that second coat, and this time it's normally a lot easier. You have less to kind of cover, kind of not really. I think it kind of just applies easier because you can definitely tell if the polish isn't somewhere or if it's somewhere that it shouldn't be. And then of course, there's less kind of spreading out to do, if that's what you want to call it, because it's the second coat. So you're not having to worry about as much coverage and everything. So there's that. And when I was doing this, you guys, I'm not gonna lie, the original set was supposed to be like an airbrushed ombre, well not ombre, the aura, AURA type of design. I don't know what happened with my airbrush. This was my first time using it, so we're gonna figure that out. But we had to kind of improvise and do something a little different. They still turned out super cute, which you guys will see. So I don't know if you guys used, I have to find the name, so I might try to put it in the comments, but I don't know if it's like the airbrush. Maybe I just got like a faulty one or what, but we'll figure it out. And then I forgot to mention, in between each coat, I do cure it for 60 seconds. And then so I went ahead and, got my airbrush together, and I'm just kind of spraying it in circles on the nail, kind of, getting a certain look, looking to see if the color looks how I want it to. And so this was after I kind of figured out that the our type of design was not going to work out. I may have been because I used colors that were too similar, like the purples, but I'm not sure. But like I said, I would definitely figure it out. When I do, I'm going to do a video on it for y'all. So I'm just kind of going back in. I'm making sure to kind of keep the nail straight up after, well, straighter anyways, after spraying so it doesn't run down. And definitely wipe the skin with acetone before letting it cure. And we ended up doing matte and adding some jewels. So this is the finished result. As you can see, it kind of has like the two-tone light purple, dark purple. They turned out cute. I was kind of nervous, but I do like the different shades, the different tones, and I like how noticeable it is. It's kind of like a, I don't know what to call it. But yeah, anyways, I hope you ladies enjoyed this video. Make sure to comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know if there's anything else that you want to see.